Hey guys, so I have Marty here because a lot of you are like, hey, where's Marty? And I understand. So here she is. Hello. Is this enjoyable? So in the last video I did a spooky story, and today I'm going to do more spooky stories, but this time it's going to be a couple of smaller spooky stories. I don't know why I chose to do that. So I went on Reddit and I found this thread. What is your most disturbing, scary, or creepy real story? Serious. They have to put that because people like to joke around, and sometimes you don't want to joke. So here's one. A few summers ago, I went on a bike ride around midnight with a friend. Oh, God. I just think, though, I just figure you're gonna get murdered. A few summers ago, I went for a bike ride around midnight with a friend. We went our separate ways at the end of the evening, and I had about 2 blocks to ride by myself. Marty left, sorry. Because of construction, I had to ride on the sidewalk, but the streets were pretty dead, and it wasn't a problem until right where I was about to turn left onto my street. There was a man walking by himself, maybe 40s, a little scruffy but not homeless. The sidewalk was narrow, and I didn't want to freak him out, so when I got about 6 feet behind him, I said, "Hey, behind you!" And he turned around and gave me a super angry look. I turned down my street and he started following me, literally screaming about how I was a C word. Definitely can't say that. And he was going to kill me and all that jazz. She didn't say that. I don't know why. She just said, and all that. And I added jazz. I live right off the corner and I didn't want him to figure that out, so I decided to do another loop around the block. That's not the scary part. The scary part is when I looped back around and looked down my street, I saw him standing on my front stoop, staring out at the street like he knew that I lived there. He saw me ride by again, but he didn't say anything. I ended up going back to my friends, but my bike got stolen in the alleyway about 2 days later. Half the scary part was that he looked pretty much completely normal for my area. That being said, I ended up texting my mom, and she made the decision not to notify law enforcement until my bike was stolen. Hold on. I had awesome parents who let me sleep in the living room on weekend nights when I was very young because my sister was a light sleeper and I could stay up until dawn. But of course, I always end up sleeping on the couch because Nick at Night made me tired. Nick at Night. Is that still a thing? Oh. I used to have marathons during the summer. Once I watched a whole lot of Brady Bunch. I can't watch it ever now, but it's too wholesome. Way too wholesome. Like, it makes my stomach hurt. Like, Full House, I like get a stomach ache just watching. It's too wholesome. So one night I woke up to the prickly feeling, like an instinct. Just bolted into a sitting position and stared out the front window. We live in rural Georgia, so you can imagine the magnitude of trees. In perfect light cast from the moon, I see a silhouette of someone in the tree. The family dog dashes to the windows and is snarling into the glass. Terrified, I run into my parents' room and try to explain to them that there's a strange person outside. Dad grabs something defensive and darts outside with the dogs. I tremble in my mom's arms until Dad comes home to say that no one is out there and to go back to sleep. I decide to sleep in my regular bedroom. I fill in my sister as to what happened. Dad is making regular rounds in the house with a cup of coffee. We are all still and I finally think I can sleep. Nope! I notice that the man is outside my window. From what I can see in the moonlight, he gives me a shush signal and runs away. Ooh, ew. I was 17 and I had just gotten my license. Back in high school, my friends and I made it a mission to find abandoned houses and to throw parties in them. We had a few good candidates, but the mother lode was this house that I would pass by on my way home from work. It was an underdeveloped shell of a huge house with large property in the back. I had told one of my friends about it, and one day before we went to go see a movie, I took him to the house. I pulled into the front of the house, and we were there for about 10 seconds tops before we pulled back onto the main road. A minute later, this big truck pulls up behind us with its high beams on, riding our ass. My friends and I took note of it, but paid no mind as we headed back to the main road. At the light, I turned right, but the truck cut through the gas station at the corner and blocked us off. Out of the truck comes this big hulk of a man, and my friend and I are shitting our pants. He raps on the window, and I roll it down. Now, the really freaky part is that this busy road, there was no one in sight. He asked us what we were doing at that house, and I quickly lied and said we were making a U-turn. He stares at us for a few seconds, smiles, and sends us on our way. To this day, this house remains unfinished, and I'm convinced that it's a drug operation of some sort. More than likely, yeah. Yeah, more than likely. So this happened to me last summer when I was back at my parents' house during the holidays. It was about 3 a.m. and I was in my room on my computer when I got a call from my sister. Now that was already a little bit weird since my sister's room was just down the hallway from mine and she could have just come into my room. I went to pick it up and the call ended as soon as I reached the phone. I figured that she wanted to speak with me, so I got up and I went to her room. As soon as I reached the door, she started screaming that someone was in her room, so I busted in and of course nobody was there. She told me that she woke up and saw a dark shadow just centimeters from her face and that's when she screamed. So I told her that she called me. She tells me that her phone was not even in her room and that she was sleeping. Sure enough, her phone was actually downstairs in her purse. The weird part is that I have a log of her call on my phone, but she doesn't. One early morning, a few short years ago, I'm walking to my bus stop and eating a banana. Nice. It is dark, misty, around 5 a.m., and I am internally debating something trivial, like if I want my daily Starbucks before or after the commute. Okay. As I approach the dimly lit corner on my street, a tall man in a black mask steps out of the dark alleyway to my left. Oh, God. The man says, "Put down your bags," and I say, okay, I'm putting them down over here. He orders me to walk over to him towards the alley. "Get down on the ground," and I agree. Okay, I'm coming. My heart is beating a million miles a minute, and my hands still smell sticky with banana. Still smell sticky. Still smell... There's too many S's there. I know I need to get away. This is a serious story. But the banana, it has to come into play somewhere. I don't know why, but my mouth won't stop working. "Look, see, I'm on the ground. My stuff is over there. Please just take my stuff." But he doesn't like it. "Shut up, okay?" He gets on top of me and puts the gun to my head. At this point, I should mention the fact that I'm on my way to coach a high school practice and I'm dressed like a dude. Huge baggy pants, hat, jacket. If not for my telltale voice, I'd look like a prepubescent 90s rap star. Anyway, as the guy gets on top of me, gun to head, he looks at me and pauses. I can't tell you why I know this, but I swear at this moment it clicks for him that I am a woman. He gets off of me, stands up, and points at the dark alleyway. "Come with me." No. 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 So I do what I do best. I talk. "I'm coming. I'm following you," I call, and the man makes a crucial mistake. He believes me. I take 1-2 tiny steps backwards towards the sidewalk, and he turns his body, his gun, towards the alley. This is my moment. I take a deep breath, tuck my head down in case he starts shooting, and start sprinting away. I hear a voice screaming in a high-pitched wail before I realize that it's mine. After running 6 or 7 blocks, I head back to my apartment, hoping that he's not there to see where I live. The police check out the alleyway an hour later. An hour, jeez. But the potential attacker is long gone. The only evidence of the encounter is my banana peel browning in the alleyway, and the adrenaline rush that I couldn't shake for days. I would be lying if I said that that experience doesn't bother me still, but I am so fortunate to be mainly haunted by the what-ifs and not the what-dids. Oh, thank God. My grandmother swears by the story till her dying day. It was during the war in London and my dad was a baby. She was bombed out of her own house and was staying with a friend. The friend had set her up in a room on the top floor. Anyway, she was taking my dad upstairs to bed when a figure materialized on the stairs telling her not to sleep in that room that night. Oh my God. She noped back down the stairs and told her friend that she and my dad were sleeping in the sitting room that night. Her friend was annoyed, but she agreed. That night, a bomb exploded near the house and the roof caved in right on top of my dad's cot, where he would have been killed. Oh, God. That's so scary. I mean, the whole situation's terrifying. But it's so nice that an entity was like, "Hey, don't." And she's like, "Oh, good Lord. Okay. Okay." Oh, Lord. Okay, so this will be the last story of the video. Here we go. I lost my place. Okay, here we go. Every time I stay at my grandma's house, I hear someone walking upstairs. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm kidding. There's so much more. My God, you should have seen your face. Oh my God. Every time I stay at my grandma's house, I hear someone walking upstairs. It starts at one side of the room, casually walks to the other side, and stops. This will happen maybe twice a night. Ooh. I don't like that. I didn't start hearing it until I was about 14, when my grandparents made me start sleeping in a different room on the first floor because they started sleeping in separate bedrooms. Blah, blah, blah. Regardless, both their rooms are also on the first floor. We don't need to dive into your grandparents' relationship. For a little backstory, I've always been afraid of the upstairs of their house. I don't know why, but it's always freaked me out, and I refuse to ever go up there alone. I'm 23 now, so I still won't go up there alone. There's one room specifically, though. It's a long, narrow bedroom. When you open the door, there are closets on your left and right. I don't like that. A bed placed roughly in the middle of the room, and a window on the far side opposite of the door. I was told growing up by my grandparents that the sons of a previous owner claimed to see a gorilla come out of that closet at night, dance around the room, and go back in the closet. I thought nothing of the story until I started sleeping in the other room. The room located directly below the scary room upstairs. So we all go to bed, all the lights are off, and I'm still awake, lying in bed, and then I hear it. Thump, thump, thump. Starting at one end of the room upstairs, it got closer to me, passed right above me, and continued at the end of the room, where it stopped. I'm wide awake, terrified out of my mind. It is no question to me that I had heard footsteps. I knew that slow, casual pace. I was freaked out and I went to my grandpa's room. I told my grandpa what I heard, and he told me that the house is old and it creaks. But he turned on the dining room light for me, so I felt a little safer. I tried going back to sleep. Then it started again, this time from where it ended the first time, by the windows upstairs. It walks over me and stops when it reached the door. I thought it was over for 5 seconds until I heard it coming down the stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Silence. It reached the landing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Silence again. It had reached the first floor. Okie dokie. I was frozen in shock. Whatever it was on my floor in the house, and sadly unaffected by the dining room light. I was staring at the doorway to my room. The dining room light was shining in, and my vision began to distort. I felt dizzy with fear. I pulled the blankets over my head and suddenly heard a scratching sound from inside my room. Oh, Lord. I knew exactly where it was coming from, too. My grandpa's gun case. It was a very obvious sound, scratching on the wood, long scratches down the front of the gun case door. I took a second to take a deep breath and let out a loud scream. In seconds, my grandpa had made his way to my room, and I was so relieved. Needless to say, he still didn't believe me. What the hell, Grandpa? So I did what any normal person would do. I draped a sheet over my side of the bed and slept underneath it. I wrapped myself tightly in a comforter, put on headphones, and turned my back to the door. There could be a party of ghosts in my room and I wouldn't even know. The next morning, my grandpa tells my grandma about what had happened the night before. She said, "Oh, that's silly. You know, your cousin woke me up the last time she stayed here. She came into my room saying, 'I hear footsteps.' I've stayed there countless times since this happened, and I hear footsteps every time. I sleep on top of the bed now." Congratulations. But I keep my back to the door and sleep with headphones on. I haven't heard it come down the stairs since that first night, but if it does, I don't want to know. Okay, so I'm going to read some comments because that story gave me the spooks. It really did. Someone says, "Have you ever considered recording the footsteps or setting up a camera somewhere?" I mean, I got frightened just from reading your story, but I would be curious. Someone responds, "Sound recorders either turn out blank or record creepier stuff than what you've heard, and cameras could just make the spirits angry at you." Someone says, "Sleep paralysis makes sense." Ooh, I've had sleep paralysis, I think, twice in my life. Horrible. It is so horrible. I remember one time I was sleeping in the living room. I was taking a nap, and I was trying to wake up. I was pretty much yelling at myself to get up, and I couldn't move, and I had my blanket over my face for some reason, which I've never done that on purpose. I would never sleep like that on purpose, so that was making it more difficult to breathe. Eventually I woke up, and I felt horrible after. It was a really bad nap. And then the second time was the freakiest time for me because somehow, once again, the blanket got over my face. And I run really warm when I sleep, so I would never put a blanket over my face on purpose. Once again, my body was not awake, but my brain, I was aware of what was happening, but my body wouldn't move. I felt this pressure on my chest, like somebody was pushing. As that was happening, I felt my mattress start to kind of lean as if somebody was sitting on the bed watching me. It was so freaking spooky, man. And it felt like it lasted forever. I want to say that it lasted maybe 30 seconds, if not less. When my body finally caught up to my brain and I could wake up, I threw my blanket off of me and I just shot out of bed And of course there was no one there. When I used to think of sleep paralysis, I would think that it only happens at night. But this all happened, like the sun was shining. It was probably 6:30 in the morning. I did not care for it. No, I did not. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end it. If you are enjoying the spooky stuff, please give this video a thumbs up. I plan on releasing a spooky video every week for the remainder of October. And then people have been asking that I do this every once in a while throughout the year. And truly, I love a good spook. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment down below. A reminder, I do have an ASMR channel and I'm doing spooky all month long on that channel as well. So if you want double the spook, you can check out both channels. 2 videos a week. Hell yeah.